Morning, everybody. John Sfiocchi here, excuse me, for GAI Insights. Bringing you the top news, essential, important, or optional, putting thoughts in your head and time in your day. Joined by Adam, Ankash, Luda, and Paul today. All right, we got a lot going on here. Everything from BCG talking about the growth of software services through how Accenture is monitoring his people to make sure that they're using AI before they get a promotion. All right. Remember, you can follow along at gaiinsights.com/articles, and any commentary you make in the comments here, we will try to respond to. All right, Akash, first article, please.
Okay, the first one that we have for today. Sorry, John, you were saying?
Welcome, Ashish. Ashish is joining us as well. Very good. Go ahead, Akash.
Hey, good morning, Ashish. So the first one that we have for today comes from Anthropic, and it is titled Making Frontier Cybersecurity Capabilities Available to Defenders.
Yeah, Adam, what did you think about this?
It was an interesting piece of news, but overall, I'd say it's an optional product announcement. So basically what's happened within the client of Claude Code, not like the command line where you can use it. There's now basically a button where you can say, do a cybersecurity scan on my code. And it's a great idea, a great feature to embed that and have it detecting the security vulnerabilities. Some interesting studies sort of as they share about the news with as these models continue to get better, they're going to just continue to get better and better at finding vulnerabilities. Staggering numbers when Opus 4 came out, 4.6 came out, and they ran this again to do a scan. It just I lost the numbers right here, but it found a tremendous number of fixes in code that, for 10 years, no expert had even found. So some significant findings. It's pretty cool stuff, but overall, it's sort of one additional feature just within the one interface within Claude at this point.
All right, Akash, what did you think?
I was also sort of optional on this one, John. I think we saw a similar feature from OpenAI coming a few weeks back, their security agent titled Ardwa, and it was doing some similar things as this one from Anthropic is doing. But I think from an enterprise user perspective, this is still a beta feature. So from that perspective, still an optional use, I think.
All right, Luda.
I was important on this one. This is when you take a piece of code and you find 500 issues with it, this is not good. And so these analytics will become essential for folks. And I think Claude Security, that particular feature, is deployable across, not just for Claude Code, for just code. So this is, even though it's a product announcement, I thought it was important.
All right, Ashish, where are you on this?
I was important as well. I feel this is an important news. With so many people building new software with agentic AI, this is a good add-on to slap onto your repos and do a sense check before you deploy stuff.
Yeah, so an article coming up saying 47% of the agentic deployments, have security vulnerabilities in them when we get to the Microsoft article. What do you think here, Paul?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a product announcement, but definitely important for all that we talked about. Affordability is important here. I continue to be surprised that I think people know stuff in the enterprise. Everyone's busy. And I think a really important part of the AI leader's role is to make sure that their colleagues on certain functional teams are aware of development. So this is affordable. I think it also just shows, and we're getting another one with Microsoft coming up here, this speed and vibe coding and the risks. So we're all driving 75 and a 55 to use the US terms with no seatbelts. And, AI is going to help us fix that.
Yeah, no, interesting. Yeah, I was originally optional on this thing, but I think I'm going to go ahead. You guys have convinced me to make it important. All right, important it is. Security as an agent for all our agents. All right, next.
Okay, the next one comes from the Boston Consulting Group, and it is titled the $200 billion agentic AI opportunity for tech service providers.
All right, Luda, my least favorite kind of interface, but here we are in the BCG double rolling scrolling. What do you think?
Yeah, so BCG is making this slightly sensational about 200 billion opportunities. Probably true, but they're basing it on a very small sample of demand and supply executives. So they did 2 surveys, one on the demand side, 115 senior executives, and 75 on the supply side. And they asked the same questions. What they found that agentic AI impact on tech services is the net effect is expansion. So if, Ankash, you can scroll to the first visual, you can see that they kind of said this is down and this is up, and the net effect is up. So they highlight several things here that makes it important. I actually put it as essential because AI executives always want to know what others are doing. This is a very quick read, gives you the snapshot of what's happening. And essentially, there are a couple of takeaways. One is that AI agents now can drive the whole process, and there's more and more of this type of capabilities, and this is where the service providers should focus on. And then in the areas of like oversight and governance that we talked about, there will be a lot of opportunities. Interestingly, they say their data shows that it's driven by C executives at enterprises, not from below. And there's a lot of discussions about the disconnect between what in the outcomes, in economic outcomes. So obviously enterprises would like to make sure that the service providers deliver. And so they want to structure the contract around that. And that's not quite happening there out there. So overall, an interesting read, very concise. I think it's essential.
All right, vote for essential, Paul.
Oh, I'm on the other side, completely optional. I mean, surprise, surprise, the economy and AI is booming and other things are booming. I don't know how an AI leader would use this to justify projects internally, so I was optional.
Ashish?
I was important on this. I feel the one thing that is most interesting is them kind of outlining new pools of emerging kind of opportunities. I feel there are a few more there, but the oversight and governance is largely kind of unnoticed. And I think it'll become more and more structural in large enterprises on how do you manage these, govern these kind of AI systems, and then course correct, also kind of detect when they go wrong and stuff like that. This is kind of not well understood space, and I feel the scope of this work will grow massively.
Yeah, okay. And very contrarian, like a lot of people are talking about the demise of, what's going on. What do you think, Ed?
Yeah, I was important initially, maybe leaning towards essential. And part of why I wanted to temper my exuberance was one, because obviously this article is quite self-serving for BCG. But secondarily, because I work in my day job in industry, that this is just a massive business case for why we're well positioned in this time. So I was very excited to read this. Affordability was tremendously high. I have to agree with Luda. It is a short read. It has a lot of good detail. And at the same time, I have to agree with Paul that as an AI leader, I'm not quite sure I would do with this. And I actually spent some time trying to figure that out before the show tonight and didn't come up with much. Honestly, I think as they consider their AI strategy and they look at who they're going to partner with, this might be some sort of guidepost in terms of how they can evaluate and assess and understand who are the people that are well positioned to provide these sorts of services. So probably overall, I landed on important. I wouldn't want it to fall under the radar, but I don't think it's for everyone either.
So let me counter this. I think the executives might use it for for budgets, because this overall says that over 50%, something like, I forget the exact number, but a lot of people are taking or presenting much higher budgets, and increase is quite significant. So, and it's across the board, right? And they're justifying it with the new opportunities coming up. So that's a nitbit here that's important, I think.
Yeah, what do you think, Akash?
I was important on this one, John. From a service provider angle, we just wrapped up the India AI Impact Summit, and there were two key announcements from Anthropic and OpenAI there. So Anthropic is partnering with Infosys here to use Infosys to forward deploy their engineers in telecommunication and technology industry. And from the OpenAI side, the same deal with TCS as well. So we are already seeing that these vendors, they need their service provider partners to implement these agentic systems in their clients' organizations. So from that perspective, I feel that this article provides some or sheds some light on that. So that's why I was important on this.
All righty. So, yeah, I was on the border between important and essential. I went back and forth as you did, I think, Adam. Let's go ahead with important on this. That's an interesting finding, too, about how IT as a percent, IT services and products as a percentage of GDP had gone up from about 5% to about 6.5%. I think that number is going to go higher as we do AI. I think it's going to end up being close to 10% by the time we do it all. But anyway, important is next.
Okay, the next one that we have for today is about Phoenix 4, real-time human rendering with emotional intelligence.
All right, here we have my shrink actually cares about me. Oh, my fake shrink actually cares about me. Ashish, what do you think?
It was an interesting development. I played around with things like Synthesia in past. This feels like a more advanced version of it. So the net of this is Tavis is an organization which is building these more advanced human-like personas, which have emotional intelligence, feedback built into it. So when you go to, let's say, a training where an AI persona or an AI avatar is kind of giving a training, or in consultation kind of scenarios, this will have more human-like feature, more human-like expression, listening capabilities, and so on and so forth. There is a video on the article, and I think the founder is speaking about the capabilities. And I was kind of second guessing myself, is this individual a real person or one of the personas then that would have been a great showcase of the technology. That person would have been an AI avatar of the founder, but it didn't turn out to be that. I rated it as optional. I don't know if our typical AI leader has a lot kind of to write on this. At this point of time, it is also scary technology, right? As this becomes very human-like, we don't know where it goes then.
Yeah, interesting. There's a famous quote from American comedian by the name of George Burns, who lived to be 100 years old, and on his 99th birthday, they were interviewing him, and they said, "Mr. Burns, what is your secret to such a long and successful career?" And he said, "Absolute honesty." He said, "And when you can fake that, you get it made." No. What do you think, Paul?
Optional. Yeah. And John, I think our friends at Inflection have really missed an opportunity. I mean, emotional stuff is really important here, and startups are filling the gap.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of deep brain. Sherry Turkle did great work ages ago about simian cues and AI, and the mirror neurons and what that does for the trust. It's a big deal. But product announcement on this so far, Ankash.
Optional, John.
Luda.
Yeah, optional. But I'm personally a fan. I think this is where a lot of advertising is going to go, and emotional avatars of all kinds. So I think this is an important trend to watch, but optional.
Yeah, and just a footnote: people watching the Zuckerberg testimonial. I mean, this is yet another wonderful tool for places like Facebook that really exploit young kids.
Oh yeah. Scary.
Paul, are you insinuating you don't trust Mr. Zuckerberg's moral compass? Anyway, Adam.
Yeah, optional. I will put on my propeller head for just a second though and mention that this is a really cool use case of, if you haven't heard of it before, Gaussian splatting, which is a 3D AI rendering technique that I've seen more and more just for world building and world modeling, but to see it integrated into basically generating all of the tone on the facial expression real time is a really interesting use case.
Yeah.
Optional news though.
Absolutely. Optional it is. Okay. Akash, next, please.
Okay, moving on to the next one. Yes, this one comes from VentureBeat, and it is titled Microsoft Copilot ignored sensitivity labels twice in 8 months, and no DLP stack caught either one.
Yeah, you gotta love this. Here we go. Microsoft can't even get their act together inside their own environment. What do you think, Adam?
Well, and that's the real key here, John, is that it's within their own environment, and that's why all of the traditional detection techniques don't work, and why it wasn't found for over a month. So as the headline says, within this 8-month period, twice the sort of the policy of sensitivity labeling, and then whether or not the AI should be able to have access to and use that information, that policy was basically completely ignored, and information was consumed by Copilot when it shouldn't have. So in some ways, you could say, well, this is, as Paul said, what is it? All gas, no brakes. And absolutely, I think at a minimum, this is probably important. So there's all of these sort of architecturally sound security techniques like endpoint detection and web application firewalls and these sorts of things, because it's all happening, as you said, within that domain of trust. It's something that doesn't get detected this way. And if some piece of information that, like an email in one of these examples, isn't something, it's classified as information that the AI isn't supposed to have access to, and then it just does, it's not that any of these other I guess exposure surfaces are being violated. So it's something to be aware of. I think it's important. It doesn't necessarily apply to everyone. You could argue for essential because the broader implications of it could apply to everyone. It's also a very strong case for sovereign AI not meaning someone else's hardware. So probably I'd probably lean towards essential as I describe it myself at this point.
All right, so you're leaning toward essential. Yeah, it's they were reading emails in the National Health Service in the UK, so it wasn't like, wasn't my preferences for lawn care or something. Okay, Akash, what do you think?
I'm with Adam here, John. I think this is an essential news.
All righty, Luda.
I was important, but listening to Adam, I think I would support essential. This is where the article for BCG, this is where the tools of governance are needed. If Microsoft didn't come out and announce that or open up over this, we wouldn't have known, right? And every enterprise will require a special tool that would guard against this. And it's important because it actually pulled out quite private information and it was available for everybody to see. So this is can be quite important.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, and you say we would have known it if they hadn't disclosed it. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if their attorneys said, "Hey, look, you need to disclose this. We may not have a law that does this, but this looks an awful lot like a bunch of data protection laws if it's not direct black letter law yet in the U.S." Anyway, what'd you think, Ashish?
I was absolutely essential on this. They disclosed it, but for a while they did not, right? So it's at their peril when they choose to disclose. I think it mentioned for a month this vulnerability was there in all the kind of customer pipelines until they kind of detect it and then choose to declare. So who knows what else is out there, right? So again, your security posture kind of underscores your vulnerability, and so this is super important for people to get cognizant and kind of learn about. I would highly encourage people reading this.
And I wonder, Ashish, whether the Cloud Code security, the real-time detection would have caught this. I wonder.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, this is more structural failure of agentic software, right? Cloud Code one for now is detecting security vulnerabilities in repos and whatnot. But again, of course, they can expand that idea. And this is not misaligned AI, right? I mean, this is just structural failure of agentic software. Misaligned AI is another thing to kind of think through.
Right. That's true, but
And
it can be expanded. Yeah. Okay.
I also did want to call out that the article does a good job of providing some actionable steps at the end, both in terms of what organizations can do to identify if they were perhaps impacted by this, but also some best practice around this sort of thing.
Who's displaying? Can you display the article? I want to show one thing that really struck out at me. You scroll halfway, scroll down a little bit, or go up. Keep going up, right there. Yeah, just scroll down a little bit. The fact that neither the detection category for your AI system has violated its own trust boundaries. So,
yeah, both the endpoint detection as well as the web application firewall. Like nothing ever left, so there was no way to detect it.
But I have a triple essential because shame on Microsoft, and I agree with Sheesh. I don't imagine there's a few more things in that closet. Second, John and I were at a major company a few weeks ago, and the CFO was in the middle of an acquisition, trying to learn Copilot, and then had a piece of confidential information come up, and he was really concerned about where that came in, and this is just going to put into the fear. So, Microsoft, I think, is really perceived as a trusted person inside the enterprise here, and now they've confused them with these 35,000 co-pilots, and stuff like this does not help them.
Yeah, this is a massive incompetence on the part of Microsoft. I mean, they should be on this. All right, essential it is. Akash, next.
Yes, moving on to the next one. This one comes from the Financial Times, and it is titled "Accenture Combats AI Refusenix by Linking Promotions to Logins."
Wow, refusenix. That's a word I haven't heard for a while, but the Luna and I can commune on that one. I grew up in Lithuania, but Luna grew up in Russia. Anyway, this is I think really interesting. How they're enforcing use of AI. What do you think, Akash?
I was between optional and important on this one, John. So basically what they're doing is they are tracking weekly logins into their internal AI tools, and they have told their senior leadership, associate director, and senior managers that the promotion to further leadership roles will require regular adoption of AI. And the article highlights that senior managers and partners in Big Four and other consulting firms, they are less inclined to use AI than the junior staff. This one specifically for Accenture is important because their CEO, Julie Sweet, they have reorganized all the consulting services under a new brand name called Reinvention Services. And if they can't show that their own employees or senior leaders are using AI, then what will they provide strategic advice on? So from that perspective, I think this is optional, but this sort of highlights a broader trend where we have been saying in the market that the push for AI adoption should come from the leadership. It should be a top-down adoption. And we are seeing now examples where firms, which we think that should be at the front of this adoption, they are not doing it. The leadership is not doing it in those set of firms. So I think the other firms will still be behind them. So from that perspective, I think this highlights a problem that AI adoption at the leadership level is difficult. So for that reason, I was oscillating between important and optional.
Yeah, interesting. Their CEO, Julie Sweet, you mentioned, I think she said something like she expects about a third of the people not to be able to make the transition from pre-AI to post-AI. Very Accenture, kind of top-down, slam it in there. I'm surprised that nobody's creating an internal market of selling agents to go and act like they're using the AI for you. I mean, this is a tech company.
John, I'm sure there is.
They'll side hustle.
Right, those are people that are caught. What do you think of this one, Paul?
I think it's an absolute wrong measure. Maybe important because it highlights the issue here. I think this issue is only going to intensify. I mean, John, you and I were having a conversation yesterday about one of the big AI firms in the Valley that is only moving to hiring young people who know one of the key coding tools because they can't move fast enough with the existing ones. And but this is the wrong way to get it. So important to highlight the issue. Not essential because it's not the right approach.
All right. So you came down on optional or important?
Important because of the issue, not essential because it's a wrong tactic.
Wrong approach. Gotcha. Okay, Adam. Important, essential.
First, I want to go back and make Ankush get off the fence because he squarely sat in between optional and important. And now you've also got to hear Paul. What do you think, Ankush? Where would you weigh in?
Still there, Adam.
You have to decide.
Sitting. Okay.
I was on the fence as well, and I think it's tough. In some ways, I feel like this may have absolutely no teeth to it, and it's absolute sensationalism, and it's them trying to just show that they're being real tough. And for that reason, I want to ignore it, and I want it to fly under the radar. But hopefully, if we can emphasize enough why it's highlighting the wrong approach and how important it is for AI leaders to start thinking about some of the challenges around this, which is highlighting as well, then I could consider it important.
But Adam, it's a moronic approach. Do they have such low belief in their managers?
But so do we showcase it, Paul, or do we brush it under the rug? Is the question?
We're gonna find good use cases of.
We'll find better ones. Yeah.
Doing well on this,
nodding over there. Okay, I'm optional.
All righty, and we have a hard stop at the hour here, so let's see. But we not heard from Ludi. You're okay with option? I'm going
triple optional for me.
All right.
Triple optional because I don't see it in the market. I see senior executives who have their heads on their shoulders, actually diving into it and trying to understand it. They might not know stuff, but they're really into it.
All righty.
I don't buy it.
We've got about a minute on the next one here. Eisner Amper, last article. Okay.
Yes, John. So Eisner Emperor has elevated assurance within Azure AI Foundry-powered agent supporting 18,000 audits.
All right, Ashish, where are you on this?
I was optional on this. I mean, we have kind of set a high bar for ourselves and kind of flagging case studies as important or essential. This one has nothing new for me. It's risk assessment, client understanding, information processing kind of scenario. Lacking architecture details, lacking kind of business impact, and so on and so forth. So I would consider it as optional.
All right, optional, Adam.
But it was Foundry, Ashish. Like that was the whole news, basically, is that it was done with Foundry. But I 100% agree with you. They didn't back it up. They didn't have the metrics. They didn't go under the hood to explain how they did it. Optional news.
All right, Paul.
Optional.
Luda.
Yeah, optional. I love use cases. I want to elevate them, not this one.
Yeah, I'm okay with optional. I'm actually on an audit committee for a public company that we're doing today. I'm going to send this around because we're renegotiating our relationship with our auditor, and I want to kind of get their
a discount, John. Get a discount.
That's the plan, baby. That's the plan. Okay, that's it. While we do the tote board announcements, Paul.
Yeah, it's super excited. A week from now, Ashish, you want to share what you're going to? We've already 115 signups, and we're going to have more coming this week. Yeah. You want to share what you're going to be talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be sharing my experiences. I'm kind of not a developer. I'm a tinkerer and kind of love technology. So I've been playing around with agentic coding tools, Claude and Codex primarily, and then having a lot of fun with OpenClaw on a daily basis. So I'm kind of happy to share some of my learnings and kind of bring people on board if they have not already latched onto these tools.
Yeah. And
great. Looking forward to it, Ashish. We got hands-on use of the agents. Anything else urgent? All right, everybody. Have a great AI day. We'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye now.